Hi everybody, and welcome to another Sunday evening frequency meditation. I'm here at my place on Pender Island, and we've just had 5 days of storms, like storms beyond storms. The ocean has been so wild and rough, and that force that only the ocean can give has just been incredible. I haven't been out on the boat, wouldn't dare. And now, just a couple hours ago is past, and already the ocean is starting to get calm, and it will continue on to. And I'm always interested because I like to notice the patterns, and that's what you can all start to get into, is notice the patterns, the frequencies of these movements, especially with nature, because whatever happens in nature is there is a ripple effect in our own lives that we can observe. And so, for instance, with storms, and we can use it as our storm within ourselves when we're in a process, when we are starting to wake up, when we're starting to become aware of the programs, filters, distortions that we have been rendering ourselves through, and we start to see the different possibilities. That's when we go through a storm, that death space. And just like nature, I like to observe and see, why is it that we still have to go through this type of process, that we always have to gear up for it, buckle down, try and find the silver lining? What is the lesson I'm supposed to do? Go into the death space, the sacrifice space, all of those things. Haven't we evolved a little bit more? Can't we copy the efficiencies of the universe and nature cycle, so that what we can do is when we go through this, and we're always going to go through it because we're always expanding, that is evolution, and we are part of evolution, is we're always expanding into that next version of ourselves. So why not copy what the universe does? And what I've observed for myself is that when in these places of where we are really doing, whether you call it shadow work or the darkness or whatever it is, it's just basically our death space, walking away from the old, if we're aware of it, is when I'm just present, not looking for the lesson, not looking for the silver lining, not looking at that next version I'm walking into, not giving affirmations or mantras, but just being present and observing, and just really observing everything that's happening around me, observing my responses or reactions without any judgment. That is when I move through with seamlessly. And that is also when the opening that comes for me is from a different realm, a different rule set altogether. It's when I have attachments, and ultimately they're attachments to the old self. That's when it gets a bit stormy. So I would like to try, and I pass it on to all of you through this meditation, is how can we go through these processes with grace and ease? And those are the definitions of that consciousness that many of you are starting to walk into and come into and be aware of. It's all through grace and ease. No longer is there this duality and this suffering and the sacrifice and the burdens and all the things that are in the mass consciousness. We're starting to wake up to these things and to get into the pattern. The other thing that I find quite interesting, and let's see if we can bring this into the meditation, is that are we just powerless over our environment around us, and we're supposed to do the best job we can with the tools we have and where we are on the spectrum of this ascension journey, and just be dealing with that? Is that how it's supposed to be? Or on the flip side of the coin, oh, we're great manifestors and we can manifest anything, and we don't have anything like that come into our sphere. Well, let's bring that into the meditation, because both of those are right and both of those are not correct. They're not accurate. So let's see from the mechanic side of really how it works when we are in these processes. How do we create our reality around us? How can we manipulate that reality? Manipulation not being a bad word, but how can we master the frequencies so that we can go through it, learn what we need to go through it to identify how we do place ourselves in space and time, and then merge into the next version of ourselves without it being so disjointed. So with that, just kick back, let's listen to the meditation. Sorry if the camera's been moving around because I'm holding it up. And I'll see you all next week. So as we get situated, just noticing the position you're in right now, whether you're standing, lying down, sitting. And maybe if this is where you always go to meditate or the position you're in, maybe try something different, because we're all about shifting, changing, walking into that next version of who we are and what is out there waiting for us. So let's just, as we settle in, noticing our body, everything from where the skin stops, all our workings within. And as we take a deep breath in, to a count of 4 through our nose, holding that breath, and then through the mouth, releasing. And every time I say take a breath in, just can be your own count. It doesn't really matter about what the number is, but just be disciplined with your breath. There are mechanics behind that, why that will help you. Therefore, then being disciplined with other aspects of your journey. So as we take another deep breath in, disciplined, really tuning into that inner physical environment that we have, everything within our body, where again the skin stops, and then all of our organs, noticing the various organs within, the heart, the lungs, the spleen, the kidneys, the brain. Noticing the blood vessels, the flesh, your bones, your skeleton. And we're just bringing everybody here right now. It's not so much what I say, it's the frequencies that are being generated to bring you into more of an alignment. The frequencies I generate, I use nature. It's the purest frequencies that I have access to here in this density. Taking another breath in. And as we are all different, we are all our own very unique, bespoke combination of frequencies. The denominator of the frequency that I bring in is of harmony and alignment for you. So that fuses with all of your frequencies, bringing you into a better position, more aligned position, more harmony with everything, specifically your timeless self. And taking another breath in, just let's focus on our spine right now, those 33 vertebrae. There's so much out there right now on manifesting, law of attraction, change your thoughts, change your world. The Secret. But what we do here, which is very different than those other modalities, taking another breath in, focusing on that spine, those 33 vertebrae. Our spine is much more than this apparatus that keeps our body mobile, upright. It's an amazing instrument, a receptor, a transmitter of this frequency signature, that combination of frequencies we each have, which is our frequency signature. It's through our spine that we send out who we think we are to others. And it's also through our spine that we receive other people's frequency signatures. So as we take a deep breath in, focusing on the lower part of the spine where that tailbone is, it really doesn't matter what you say, how you look, how you dress, the car you drive. If you've noticed in your own experience when you see people or yourself like that, that might be of the very first impression. Again, noticing your tailbone being centered right here. Very quickly, another sensory picks up the vibration of that other person. Maybe you've met someone who's, in your eyes, beautiful, very good looking, overwhelmingly beautiful. And then in a very quick time, you cannot see that beauty anymore because you're picking up their frequencies. So as we take that breath in, we move from our inner physical environment where the skin stops, going inwards, and we move to the next inner environment, which is non-physical, arm's length around us, spherically, above, below, in front, behind, side to side. That space from where the skin stops to about arm's length around, which is dynamic. We can always expand it or compress it. We move into this environment with our attention. This is where all these frequencies are created. And this is where these frequencies create a reflection of you in that physical inner environment. Everything we are here in this density is a reflection from that other inner environment. Don't worry if you can't make sense of it. It's a pretty big concept, but it will come to you. I'm just starting the conversation for you and your timeless self. Opening up the conversation as we take a deep breath in. And with the mind's eye, just look around that area, that inner environment of yours, and see what is there in that area. What frequencies, distortions, filters, dreams, aspirations, whatever it might be, what comes to your mind when you scan that environment. And asking our higher self, what is it that's within this environment that I can release that doesn't serve me? It may have served me at another time, but it's not serving me now. So what can I send out, release through this inner environment? Noting arm's length, the very tip of our arm's length, that sphere around us. The ridge of the sphere all around us. And this is our filter system. And for those who do not have that, let's just bring that in for you. It's a filter system. It's a one-way valve, so we can release and send out any programs, distortions, filters that are in our inner environment. Once we receive the awareness of what is there that does not belong, that comes from your timeless self. It's not for you to figure it out. It will come to you. So taking another breath in. And equally, we ask our higher self, our timeless self, our spirit, whatever you wish to refer to, it's just a label. What frequencies can I bring into my inner environment that will help me be that best possible self? Everything is curated and created in this inner non-physical environment. The body is a reflection of that environment. And our outer life, what happens past that ridge outside of our personal sphere, people call it personal space, our aura, everything that happens outside of that space is a consequence of what has been created and running in our inner environment. So as we take a breath in, we see the spheres, if you like, the smaller sphere, which is us, the physical body. And then around that is our inner environment, where all the programs, filters, distortions, frequencies exist. And then from that, there's another outer sphere, which is the world that we participate in, we perceive, we create. And that's where our health, our wealth, our romances, finances, perspectives, thought processes, fears, neuroses, everything is in that outer environment. And again, that's a consequence. The creation is a consequence of what is curated in our inner environment. So as we take a breath in, we can see, we can observe and be aware that really the only place for us to put our attention when we're doing this work, communion, if you like, with your higher self, is that inner environment. And if we are not in optimal position, if you like, in space and time, where we create ourselves in the fourth quadrant, again, if this is too technical for you, it doesn't matter. It's really just opening up the conversation between you and your higher self. And the knowledge will come to you directly, not through me. This is the power of the work we do here. This is not me providing information, which is from the outer environment, through my filters, and then you receiving it through your filters, and then you having to memorize it and act on it. That's information. What we receive here is knowledge. That knowledge comes from within. That knowledge comes from your higher self, with the minimal filters to distort the perspective. Taking another breath in. So let's just be here right now in silence while I generate these frequencies to help bring in that alignment for all your other frequencies to fuse with, pulling you into that more optimal space, just like nature. And while I do that, review your inner environment and ask your timeless self again to just let you be aware of what filters are running that do not serve you. It's pretty hard to fix a problem if you don't know what's broken. And this is what we've been doing as a mass consciousness, running around like chickens without our head on, trying to fix something, but we haven't even located the source of the problem or distortion. Taking another breath in, being aware of this perfect moment you are in. There is nothing else but right now, this very second. And what we do is we shift in space and time to a better place, a more beneficial reality for you, where there are different rule sets. But we don't get there through the mind. We get there from moving in space and time and let ourselves be guided by our timeless self, directed. And how we do that as we take a breath in is we really come into our body, focusing on our spine, focusing on our organs, focusing on that layer of skin that goes all around us, that separates us from that non-physical inner environment, which separates us from that outer environment. So we just focus on being in our body and here right now, this present moment. That's all that exists for us. It's the only place your timeless self is in the present moment. And as you have been able to observe how often we're not in the present moment, trying to solve challenges, distortions from the present, from the future moment, where your timeless self is not. And then we wonder why we're in a loop. So as we take a breath in, we position ourselves here, right now, in this perfect moment, in our body, in alignment with our timeless self. And we let our timeless self bring us to that more beneficial position. Less filters, clearer communication. And let's just sit here right now while you scan your environment and I work on the back end for you. Something you can do, something you will do on your own. It's just temporarily while we are opening up these conversations between you and your timeless self, opening up these mechanics which we've just forgotten. And just notice how you feel right now. Deep inside. And if you're not feeling anything, then we just ask our higher self, our timeless self, again, what programs do I need to release so I can merge into these other realms where this universal knowledge is that I have access to. And then what can I bring in to my inner environment that will help me stay here? Many of you move into different realities, different dimensions within those realities continuously. It's kind of like taking 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards. So let's just help you help yourself. It's always you who has the final say, especially now, especially in this time that we're in. So let's just help you help yourself understand how to stay here. So we can build on that movement. And as you're observing your inner environment, let's imagine. Imagination is one of our superpowers, downplayed by society for very intentional reasons. But everything starts with the imagination. Absolutely everything. So let's give ourselves permission to re-engage in our imagination as something very real. It's more real than what is being acted out here in this density as we take a breath in. And let's imagine that inner environment of ours where all those programs are, our frequency signature is. Imagine what that next version of you, that version that you're stepping into, many of you have already stepped into it and you just have the echoes of the old version playing. But imagine, what does that next version of you look like? How do you look? How do you speak? How do you walk? Who's in your life supporting you, nurturing you? What are these challenges that seem to be so overpowering? Are they so overpowering, that next version of you, that higher version of you? Imagine, in as much detail as you can, what is that person you're walking into? By focusing our attention on the next version, always looking forward, instead of constantly looking backwards, thinking of the old version, the old way of doing things. When we do that, the mind is trying to recreate the same experience from those past memories. Very difficult to go forward if we're always going back, trying to recreate just out of familiarity. So the most efficient thing to do is always to be focusing on that next version that you are creating. It's how powerful we are as beings. Taking another breath in. And we're using our imagination. There are no limitations with our imagination. So give yourself permission to create that next version with no limitations. Your timeless self loves to create, loves to expand. Let's go deeper. And let's bring in that awareness just for your clarity. How so many other modalities out there that are offering this expansion, this manifestation, create. Let's just receive clarity on those methods. Let's bring in the awareness of the shortcomings on these methods that we've been guided through the mass consciousness. There's that mantra, we should never judge. But if you're not judging your journey, who comes into it, who you're going to take guidance from, if you're not discerning on what programs or modalities you're going to follow, doctrines, dogmas, then who is? Who is making that decision for you? So judgment has been given a bad rap, just like being intolerant has been given a bad rap. We're supposed to be tolerant of everything to be a good person. Well, look around at what all this tolerance has done for society. No one is very well defined. Everyone is confused who they are. And that would be great if the outcome was a demonstration of our fullest potential, our fullest expression of our timeless self. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So as we take a breath in, we ask for awareness. What is the most efficient way to render ourselves here in this density? And let us be aware of the shortcomings of some of these other mass conscious offerings out there. Let us be aware, if you like, of the naivety, the spiritual bypassing. So we, not concerned about the others who are doing it, not concerned about the people offering it. That's when you get into judgment in a different way. We're only concerned that we, on our journey, that it can be the most efficient, just like the universe is, the most efficient method forward, because we've all signed up for this. We've all signed up to be our best possible self in this lifetime. We've all signed up to reach these different realms, clearer realms, where there are technologies on offer to help us be that best possible person. And as a consequence, we create that best possible life here. So as we take a deep breath in, we're coming to our timeless self, asking for truth. and clarity is our right. Many practices out there are about vision boards, or visualizing that person you want to be, affirmations. Well, that's all fine, but if you're in a distorted reality doing that, everything has to be created with those distortions. So the only problem that I see, I'm just passing out my experience, I'm not speaking for the universe, I'm just saying this is what I've noticed through trial and errors and the many, many things I've been doing for over 4 decades, is that if you don't sort out what reality you're in, and that clear connection, alignment with your higher self, then everything you create, manifest from those other realities and those dimensions within those realities will be flavored with the same distortions. For instance, as we take a breath in, picking up for people on this call, you can create and manifest as much as you want about bringing in your twin flame, a relationship, a love affair, however you phrase it. But if your definition, your program of love is abuse, which some of you on this call have, every relationship will be laced with abuse. And if a loving, nurturing relationship came your way, you wouldn't be interested, because that's not the program, the frequency that is demanding the complementary frequency. So if I have abuse, self-abuse programs, I'm only going to be interested in other frequencies that come in that will abuse me. As we take a breath in, and for those of you who resonate with that, you can observe your relationships, and relationships are much broader than just between two people. How has the relationship of money served you, or has it abused you? Whether you have a lot of money or no money, it's irrelevant. If you have that program of abuse, it will abuse you. How has your body, the relationship with your body, what is that like? The relationship with your timeless self, what is that like? So what we do here is that we go to the core of our programs and we shift at this level. I call it the precursor, before everything has been created, those induction frequencies. And we edit there, and then this is where permanent. I don't like to say transformation, because what we really do, we're not transforming ourselves. We're not changing ourselves. We're moving into a more optimal reality where there is a better version of ourselves. We don't have to focus on healing and transforming this current version. We're focused on moving to a more optimal reality, clear connection with our timeless self, where already there exists a more efficient version of yourself. As we breathe in, once we locate that and you understand and learn how to navigate there on your own, I can give you a temporary pass, but I can't keep you there. Another deep breath in. Once you can go there on your own, that is when your inner physical environment, the body, your vitality, your perspective of all the different possibilities on offer for you, your physical density here, that shifts. You naturally gravitate towards things that will nourish you. And equally, as you again locate that better position in space and time, your outer environment, which is a consequence of this transportation to a different reality. I prefer transportation over transformation. As a consequence, your outer environment shifts. The jobs, the romances, where you live, the possibilities that come into your life, the people that come into your life, the people that leave your life that do not serve you. So we don't have to focus on that. We get to just observe it. All the different possibilities that come in for us. So as we take that breath in, and again, putting our attention on our inner environment, that non-physical, arm's length around us. You're starting to receive the manual on how you create yourself here and how the universe creates itself. It's all patterns. They're all derivatives of one another. So I'll leave you here. For those who know spatial referencing, using our 5 physical senses to come back here right now. Listening for any sounds around you. Noticing where the sounds are coming from and where are you in your body. The smells in the air. Where are those smells coming from? Where are you? What is touching your skin? What's supporting you? What are you sitting, standing, lying down on, walking on? Noticing that. And then you in your body. The taste in your mouth, that internal spatial referencing, turns on all of the systems, releasing the right chemicals to have that optimal health if you're in alignment in space and time. Opening your eyes, looking at an object, noticing an object, where that is, and then where are you in your body. That's called spatial referencing. It's using our 5 physical senses, which is the primary purpose of our senses, is to tell GPS to locate us where we are in space and time. And then it has the other benefits of enjoying coffee, seeing a beautiful sunset, listening to amazing music, touching, being touched. But those are not the primary purpose of these senses. I would always suggest to spatial reference after a meditation. It will bring you back here, keep you aligned, help you integrate and receive the knowledge that has come up during these sessions. And with that, I'll see you all next Sunday.